welcome to the Football Philosophy channel. Brilliant night of international football last night. I watched the Portugal-France game from start to finish. It was a cracking game, two superb teams. Pogba for France played in the middle of a midfield four. It was a 4-4-2 really that they played. They played with Kingsley Coman on the wide on the right. N'Golo Kante and Pogba as a central pairing, and Rabiot not completely wide on the left, but sort of playing from the left, but also getting out to the left wing. So it was pretty close to a normal 4-4-2, as I say, with Coman to the right, Rabiot to the left, and Pogba and Kante in the middle. Griezmann played like in a number 10 role, and some of his link-up play with Anthony Martial was brilliant. Martial played at number 9. Brilliant performance by France. A difficult place to go to. Okay, there's no fans in the stadium, but obviously they feel at home when they're playing in Lisbon. So Portugal in Lisbon are a real difficult team to beat. And France, although Portugal huffed and puffed towards the end and they hit the post towards the end, they could have equalised. They also missed another chance or two. But I think overall France deserved it. I think for the first hour, France were comfortably the better side. Paul Pogba last night, a different animal. What a game Paul Pogba had. I was astonished how he played. Jamie Carragher was in the news during the week saying, he was talking about Pogba and Bruno, saying that they couldn't play together in the same team. And one of the things he aimed at them was that they haven't got the discipline. I think what he means by the discipline, well, there's two possibilities. It could mean that they're not behind the ball often enough when the opposition get the ball. But another type of discipline is that if you are told that you're not to try too many difficult passes, if you're told that you want your players to keep it simple and you're a part of that, you've got to get the ball on the floor. You've got to find simple 5 and 6 and 8 yard passes. Try and keep the ball on the floor. That's also another discipline. If you're a player who likes to try and play the odd Hollywood ball and the odd killer ball, and you've been told not to, it's another type of discipline. So I think Jamie Carragher probably meant defensive discipline, but there is more than one type of discipline. And if you wanted to see a performance with discipline last night, if you wanted to show somebody and say, here's a player playing with discipline, you could take a video of last night's game and show them Paul Pogba. Lots and lots of simple 5, 8 yard passes straight to people's feet, great decision making, virtually no Hollywood balls. I see him play for United. He often holds onto the ball too long and gets dispossessed. He wasn't doing that. He wasn't getting dispossessed. You couldn't have asked for a better performance. He was absolutely superb. There was this. I don't always go off stats, but there's some stats on Twitter. 88% pass completion, 9 duels won, 7 ball recoveries, 3 tackles won. I don't know why 3 tackles won doesn't go in with the 9 duels, and whether it's part of the 9 duels, I don't know. That might be 12 duels won if he's won 3 tackles as well. But he was just a completely different player, playing in the middle of a 4-4-2 without the likes of a Scott McTominay or a Fred playing behind. Obviously, Kante plays a little bit like Fred. Kante was absolutely brilliant, by the way. He covered every blade of grass, but not just staying back. Quite a lot of the time, well, it was Kante who actually scored the goal for France. A well-worked move. Griezmann to Rabiot in the inside left channel, and Rabiot with a face shot. I think the keeper should have, it was low across the turf. I think the keeper should have held it, but it bounced up off him, and Kante, believe it or not, was there to knock it in from literally 3 yards out. So Kante played a bit further forward, a lot further forward really than Pogba did. Pogba was the deep lying player, but he was a lot of people think a deep lying player there. He might have played, a lot of people refer to the quarterback role where he's spraying passes all over the field. He wasn't playing like that. He was just receiving the ball and giving easy passes. And what Didier Deschamps says to him that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't say to him, I have got no idea. Why? I mean, obviously France have won the World Cup, and Deschamps is in charge, and if he can get Pogba playing like that, I wonder why whenever people speak about a potential new manager for United, I've never heard Didier Deschamps' name come up, but I don't see why it shouldn't. If he can get Pogba playing like that, he's some coach. Another interesting thing that I found that Deschamps did. He only made 2 substitutes. There's 5 substitutes allowed, and there's a manager who doesn't feel under pressure to make sure that that he gives people a game. For example, he's not under pressure to take people off, to give them a rest. The only substitutes he made, he took he took Kingsley Coman off, who's fresh from having scored the winner in the Champions League final, don't forget. He took Kingsley Coman off after an hour, and he took Anthony Martial off after 78 minutes. Portugal did get on top the last 20 minutes. It wasn't a slight against Martial's performance. I thought Martial played really well. Like I say, he's playing for the world champions. It didn't look out of place in any way, shape or form. He did have a couple of chances. He might have scored another night. I'll cover those chances in a minute. But he only made the 2 subs, as I say, and after 78 minutes, Martial was replaced by Giroud. At this stage, Griezmann was dropped back into midfield because they were proper under pressure from the Portuguese. I don't think it was a surprise that, like I say, it wasn't a slight against Martial's performance. It was hard work up top. He was up top alone really by that stage. Giroud's a big target man. He's someone that they can hit with the ball. So that was the only 2 substitutes that he made. Kingsley Coman came off after an hour, and Anthony Martial came off after 78 minutes. As I say, Martial could have scored on another night. He did have a few chances. He did a lovely bit of interchange with Griezmann. He laid the ball off to Griezmann, spun round and raced in behind, and Griezmann played the ball into the box. The ball that he chased into the box from Griezmann was brilliantly played, beautifully weighted, but once you do get in that box and the keeper comes flying out at you, it looks an easy chance. He should probably have scored it, but what I need to say is the keeper was right on top of him. The keeper manages to get that close to him that it's difficult to beat a keeper. Martial races after that ball, and it's great if you can take a touch and steady yourself. It's also great if you can get your shot in, even if it's your first touch, if the keeper's still 4 or 5 yards away from you. But the keeper races out and Martial's chasing the ball. By the time Martial touches the ball, the keeper's only a yard or so away from him. It's the same theory as, if you think about it, when someone's taking a penalty kick, the goalkeeper has got to stay on his goal line. And if he jumps off his goal line, the penalty kick gets retaken. The reason for that is that you're making the angles or the view of the goal, if you like, even smaller for the penalty kick taker. So you're not allowed to come off your line to make it slightly more difficult. You've got to stay on your line. So all you're going to do is get maybe a foot or 2 off your line, a yard at the very most. So the penalty kick taker is still 11 yards away from the keeper when he takes his kick, even if the keeper jumps off his line. So that's the same theory. So when a player is bearing down on goal, if he can't take his shot for whatever reason, and on this occasion it was Martial's first touch, he couldn't take the shot any earlier, so he couldn't literally take the shot until he was a yard away from the keeper, and by that stage the keeper, as I say, is right on top of you. He sticks a foot out and makes a good save. Maybe Martial could have lifted it, but I don't think he deserves much criticism for not scoring that one. And another chance that he had, it was fed across the box by the left back. Martial come flying in. He had to dive in between the defenders. Again, perhaps he should have scored, but again, he's actually on the stretch this time. He's sliding in, gets his boot to it. I think it's one of those where a lot of strikers think, just get my boot to it and it's going in because you're that close to the goal. But he gets a great contact on it, maybe too good a contact, and it flies straight towards the keeper. And Rui Patricio in the goal for Portugal made another good save. Andy Hinchcliffe, the co-commentator on both of those occasions, said that Martial, did okay and maybe couldn't have done much different, and there were 2 great saves. But he was particularly critical of Martial for a chance that I think was the most difficult chance. 2 or 3 times in commentary, Andy Hinchcliffe said he should have scored that goal, should have scored that chance. Martial headed against the bar in a crowded penalty area from, 5 or 6 yards out. And what actually happened, a free kick was taken by Griezmann. It was across the box and headed back into the box for Rabiot. So it bounced up quite high. Rabiot hit it on the turn obviously trying to get his shot on target, but his shot is going well wide, and it comes to Marshall, but it's sort of straight at Marshall coming from this side, and the goals are that way. It's straight at Marshall, but ever so slightly behind him. He's just got to lean back and direct it towards the goal. And it's with the ball's coming that quick, I think Marshall actually deserved credit for getting so close to scoring, whereas Andy Hinchcliffe was adamant that he should have scored. And another thing that I found interesting is the way people look at different things. If you listen, if you've seen the game, you might have heard him say it. But he said how brilliantly Rabiot does to get his shot on target. And yet Rabiot's shot is actually heading towards the corner flag. and Marshall, leaning back, gets his head on it and diverts it towards the goal and actually hits the crossbar. So Marshall hits the crossbar from a really sharply taken header, leaning back a little bit. I thought it was a great effort by Marshall, and Andy Hinchcliffe gives Rabiot credit for having his shot on target, and it was actually Anthony Marshall that diverted it onto the target, or virtually onto the target. It hit the crossbar, and as near as damn it, that's on target, as I say. I thought that was his most difficult chance, and it was the only chance that Andy Hinchcliffe criticised him for missing. So a brilliant win for France. They've qualified. They're the first team through. The finals, I think I heard them say on TV, I thought they were going to be next summer, but obviously we've got a packed summer, we've got the European Championships. I think they said the finals are going to be in October. They don't decide where it's going to be played until they know who the 4 semi-finalists are. So France are the first team through to the semi-final. There is a game left, but it goes on the head-to-head. If you finish level on points, it goes on the head-to-head. So Portugal are now 3 points behind France. So even if France lose on whether they play on Tuesday or Wednesday, I think it'd be Tuesday. If France lose, then I'm sure he'll rest players now. They might get beat on Tuesday. But if France lose on Tuesday and Portugal win, they'll be level on points. But it doesn't go on goal difference. It goes on the head-to-head. And the first game was a 0-0 draw in Paris between France and Portugal. And then France won last night in Lisbon 1-0. So to speak, in the head-to-head, France are 1-0 up, if you like, on aggregate. So France are through, even though it's still possible for Portugal to catch them on points. On the Portuguese team, Bruno Fernandes played for Portugal for 72 minutes. Did okay. He had one good shot, straight down the keeper's throat, really, but he got good power in it. He had another effort that wasn't so clever. He was replaced on 72 minutes by João Martino. João Martino came on as a sub. Diego Jota, the Liverpool player, came on as a sub. They actually made 5 substitutes in their efforts to break down the French team. Although they didn't use Pedro Neto, they didn't use Ruben Neves. I think that gives you a bit of a clue as to how strong a team the Portuguese are. Ronaldo was playing up front. They are the holders of they are the European champions, and they also are the holders of this Nations Cup, which they are now. They're not going to be in the semi-finals this time round. So it just shows you what a strong team Portugal are. They're a great team, really, and it was a brilliant win for France. And France are through to the semis. In the Spain and Germany group, Spain drew with Switzerland 1-1 last night. I was about to say a fantastic night for Sergio Ramos, a mixed night for Sergio Ramos. Sergio Ramos, the centre-back for Spain, won his 177th cap last night, which is a record for a European nation. He overtook Buffon, the Italian goalkeeper's record. You would expect a record like that to be a goalkeeper's, really. So great credit to Sergio Ramos for keeping himself fit for all those years, obviously making himself available for his nation for all those years as well, and to win 177 caps is absolutely enormous credit to him. It's brilliant. For the centre-back as well, he's also scored 23 goals, which is a record in international football for a defender. He scored quite a few penalties in that total. But still, it's there. He's got 23 goals, a great record for the centre-back. But this is why I started to say it was a mixed night for him. Last night, Spain got 2 penalties last night, and Sergio Ramos took them both, and the Swiss keeper saved them both. So last night, Sergio Ramos, on his 177th cap, missed 2 penalties. They were losing 1-0 Spain until the 88th minute. They did equalise. Apart from, obviously, it's better in any game, it's better to draw than to lose. And apart from the confidence boost that might give them not getting beat, which I don't know, I'm not sure if that really matters. But what I was about to say is the point that they got doesn't make any difference whatsoever. At the same time as they were playing, Germany beat the Ukraine 3-1. So Spain and Germany now play during the week, Tuesday night, I think. So Spain and Germany now, it's winner takes all, or a draw will do for Germany. Spain need to beat Germany in Spain on Tuesday night. They are 1 point behind Germany, so obviously the draw suits Germany. They need to beat them to overtake them. So my point about them getting 1 point in Switzerland, it didn't really matter that much. It doesn't matter one bit towards the table. If they were 2 points behind Germany, they'd still qualify by beating them. So they need to beat Germany on Tuesday night, as would have been the case anyway. So that should be a cracker. Germany beat the Ukraine 3-1. The Ukraine took the lead. A brilliant finish by Leroy Sané for the equaliser. And then Timo Werner, who's on fire at the minute, he scored twice. And as I say, Germany beat the Ukraine 3-1. Unbelievable group that. What a tough group. Switzerland, who are bottom of the group. Switzerland, who are bottom of the group, have only got 3 points. And the 3 points have come from 2 draws with Germany and a draw with Spain. So that's a proper tough group. And you've got to feel sorry for Switzerland, who are in danger of relegation. And they've now played Germany twice and Spain twice and only lost once out of the 4 games. So that's coming up this week. Let's get back to today first. At 2 o'clock, there's plenty on the TV today if you want to watch 1 game or 2 games. At 2 o'clock, we've got Slovakia versus Scotland. Sky Sports football at 2 o'clock. Scotland have reported no injuries, although Robertson, the Liverpool left-back, he's out suspended. So I expect Scott McTominay to play in that game. As I say, that's 2 o'clock on Sky Sports Football. Scotland, if Scotland win that, there's promotion and relegation in this Nations League. So Scotland are aiming to get into the top level of it for the next tournament. So if Scotland win today, they've cracked it and they will be in the top level next time round. So they're hoping to complete a fantastic week for themselves today. As I say, Scott McTominay, I expect to play in that game at 2 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, you've got Wales versus the Republic of Ireland. This is on Sky Sports Football again. That's Dan James obviously could be playing for Wales in that game. Wales also looking for promotion. If they win, they get promoted to the top level for the next tournament. But at the same time, the Republic of Ireland are in danger of relegation. They could do with a win themselves just to stay where they are in the same level for next time, which is the second level. Gareth Bale's also reported fully fit for the Welsh team, so Gareth Bale might turn out in that game as well. So could be an interesting watch. Also at 5 o'clock, we've got Sky Sports Premier League. On Sky Sports Premier League, Netherlands versus Bosnia and Herzegovina. Van der Beek could be playing, so I might flick between the 2 games and watch a bit of the Wales Republic game and a bit of the Dutch game. I'd like to watch Van der Beek play. I'm pretty sure he'll be playing. It's a must-win game for the Netherlands. The Netherlands are still in with a shout of reaching the semi-finals next year. If they can win today, they probably need to win the last game to do it. But I think it's a must-win game today for them to keep themselves in with a chance. So that's 2 games at 5 o'clock today. There's the Wales versus the Republic. Well, there's other games as well, but those are the 2 big ones that have caught my eye. Wales versus the Republic of Ireland and the Netherlands versus Bosnia and Herzegovina. At 7:45. There's a few games. I'll come to the England game last. There's a big game, Australia versus, Austria. 7:45, Austria versus Northern Ireland. It's a big game for Northern Ireland. They're in danger of relegation. To be honest, Austria, if they win, they're red hot favourites to actually get through. So I think Austria will probably beat Northern Ireland, but they've still got a chance to keep themselves up when they play Romania during the week if Romania don't get a good result today. So it's not all over for Northern Ireland, but it is a tough ask for them today. That's live on Sky Sports Football at 7:45, Austria versus Northern Ireland. Also at 7:45, Sky via the red button, a big game, Italy versus Poland. That'll be an interesting game to watch, but I'm sure most people will be glued to Sky Sports main event. Sky Sports main event, 7:45 today, Belgium versus England. I expect Harry Maguire to be captain in England. We know that Marcus Rashford's out with a shoulder injury. It's a must-win game for England. Denmark are playing Iceland at the same time. Denmark and Belgium have both got great shouts of getting through. If Belgium beat England today, they're out of it. If England manage to get a draw in Belgium, they will still be out of it if Denmark beat Iceland. So, you know, for all really speaking, they do need to win. I think if England don't beat Belgium in Belgium today, they'll be out of it. It is a serious tournament. I've said this each day this week. They will be taking it seriously. So I'll be really interested to see what Gareth Southgate picks for his starting 11 today. Obviously, as I said, Marcus Rashford's missing. But, you know, in some of the international games, you can afford to make, you know, one or two changes, or you can give players, you know, the odd player a game where you just want to see how he's going to do in the international arena. But I think an away game to Belgium in a game that you really want to win, I'll be really interested to see what lineup Gareth Southgate goes with. As I say, I'm pretty confident Harry Maguire will start the game and captain the side. But the rest of the team, I'll be looking forward to see who he picks in 2 or 3 different positions. Pretty sure Harry Kane will come back in. Calvert-Lewin's been on fire, but I'm pretty sure Calvert-Lewin will probably be on the bench. But still, the rest of the makeup to the team remains to be seen. I'll be looking forward to that, and that's at 7:45 today, Sky Sports main event. I hope you've enjoyed the show. If you have enjoyed the show, please tell all your friends. Don't forget to subscribe. If you didn't enjoy it, keep stum, don't tell anyone.